Hi, everybody. Hi there, Amy. I see some folks. Hi, Amy. There she is. Hi, Pamela. Carla, Diane. Hello, girls.
All right, I think we have a good group to get started. So I just want to, again, say thank you for everyone who's joined us so far, and thank you for joining us at the East Hampton Library. My name is Rebecca, and I'm one of the reference librarians here. And I just want everyone to, just to thank everyone for joining us for Fit and Strong today, which is our first session of this series, which is a lymphedema exercise and education program led by Tracie Sullivan, a cancer exercise specialist. So again, Tracie, just thank you so much for being here. And just, again, thank you everyone for joining us. And I just hope we have a great class. Thanks, Tracie.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Tracie Sullivan. I am a cancer exercise specialist. I am a functional aging specialist. I am certified and qualified in youth exercise programming. I've been training clients on Long Island, if you haven't tell by my accents, in New York since 2006. I am also a private trainer for the medical team at StonyBrook Southampton Hospital. It is through the wellness department at StonyBrook Southampton Hospital. And we worked closely with the physical therapy departments to develop and create the Fit and Strong program, which is why we're all here today. So I thank you, as Rebecca did, for joining us. And I do want to thank the East Hampton Library also for hosting us for 6 weeks. It's really good stuff, really good stuff. So let's discuss our program today. As we know, our bodies are comprised of many systems. And just for the sake of time, I'm going to simplify everything down. We have the skeletal system, which is our framework and bones and connective tissue. We have the muscular system, which permits movements to that framework. The neurological system transmits signals to the body to allow all that to happen. We have the cardio components, the circulatory system and vascular system regulates our blood flow. The respiratory system is the breathing process. And of course, many others like digestive system, the reproductive system. But today our focus and our goal is to bring awareness and attention to the lymphatic system and the important role it plays in supporting the health of our immune system. Now, our immune system, of course, is our body's natural defense against disease. So if there's any questions, I want to let everybody know the chat box will be open. Feel free to reach out throughout the training today. I will stop and check in. I'm a big fan of checking in, so feel comfortable to let me know if you have questions or concerns. The program today begins with an educational segment, as it will for the full 6 weeks. We begin the program with a deep belly breath, which we'll get to in a moment. Then we have a self-massage series of warm-up, and low impact cardio is what you can expect today. I do want to remind you, please, to have water nearby, stay hydrated throughout, proper shoes. I know we're in the comfort, some of us in our home. We need to have a non-slip sole. And if you feel comfortable staying seated through the whole process today and any other time, absolutely feel free. I have a chair behind me. I will show modifications. I will also show modifications for advanced moves throughout. And I did want to mention, if you have been prescribed a sleeve or a garment, a compression garment, it is important that we wear that through the exercise today. And any time that we do perform exercise or activity. Okay, so just checking in once more. Hello, everybody. I want to get through the list. Diane, Judy, nice to meet you. Trish, Valentina, Virginia, welcome. Welcome, Paula, Bosch. Okay, Anya, welcome from the UK. Love that. Okay, so let's discuss the Fit and Strong program, shall we? And let's discuss a lymphatic system. So our lymphatic system, it's a series of vessels throughout the body. Rebecca, if you have a moment, you can put up the slide, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So people can have a visual to see the vessels that comprise.
Does this work?
That's fantastic.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Of
So our
course.
lymphatic system is made up of a series of vessels throughout the body, as you can see signified here in green. Now, these vessels are connected to our lymph nodes. Now, lymph nodes are bean-like structures or bean-shaped glands strategically placed throughout the body. Now, the lymphatic system, as I mentioned, plays a key role in the immune system. So supporting the immune system, the fluid known as lymph travels through the vessels and seeks out bacteria, infection, cellular waste, disease, cancer cells. And it transports these cells through these vessels and deposits them into the nearest lymph node, the closest lymph node, the first lymph node known as the sentinel node. So you can see in this diagram, our lymph vessels come down along the sides of our neck, in the throat, they come across the collarbone. You can see clusters, small clusters in the armpit area, that's the axilla. Some of the lymph nodes are clustered in small groupings. Some of them are much larger bundles, as you can see down through the torso, through the abdomen, and there within the groin. So as this fluid travels through the body, collecting disease, cellular waste, etc., deposits this into the lymph node, the fluid then flushes through, and it's almost as if it's filtered somewhat and continues its path back through the body, up through the heart to be processed. It travels in a one-way direction, a one-way loop. So if the lymphatic system becomes damaged through injury, surgery, in the case that it is discovered, there are cancer cells in lymph nodes, sometimes radiation is a course for prescription or a course for treatment that can damage the tissue. Sometimes surgical removal of one or more lymph node can interrupt that flow of lymphatic fluid. So through exercise, we hope to redirect that fluid and show it a new path so it can continue to travel through the body. Because eventually, if it travels to that same region and the lymphatic system has injury, the lymph nodes are removed, that fluid essentially hits a dead end. And over time, it can build up. And over more time, a gradual period of time, it can back up. So we want to give it a new path and show it where to go. So unlike the circulatory system, like I mentioned earlier, has the heart as a pump to move the blood to supply the body. The lymphatic system doesn't have that heart as a pump. The lymphatic system relies on muscular contraction within the vessel and against the vessel to help move the fluid, excuse me. What's muscular contraction? Happens every day. Simple act of walking, sitting, standing, rolling over in bed requires controlled muscular contraction. And of course, another form of muscular contraction is exercise, and that's why we're here today. So typically when we're inactive, as now, we're seated still, the fluid that may travel throughout the body into the torso, into the trunk of the body, it can back up, it can build up. So we always begin our sessions with a deep belly breath, a diaphragmatic breath, to help flush the fluid from the trunk of the body, to encourage movement of that fluid, which is the goal of the program, but also to create room and space for any fluid that we may be able to transport from our extremities. It will travel back to the torso. We have to provide room for that fluid to come back in. So if you're familiar with the deep diaphragmatic breathing, if you're familiar with deep belly breath, feel free to just jump on in. We can do 3 or 4 reps, 5 reps if you'd like. If you're unfamiliar with it or you just want more insight to it, I encourage you to join me. I'm going to stand for this segment, okay? So pardon me while I come on up. Move this chair out of the way here. So if we're seated, I'd like you to have your knees shoulder width, okay? I'd like the collarbone tall above the belly button, all right? So we have nice, and we're sitting nice and tall. We have really good posture. Posture matters if we're seated, and posture matters if we're standing. So if you're standing with me, Knees are forward, directly over ankles, and your knees are the width of your shoulders. We want to avoid this narrow position with our feet, okay? We want to have that nice stable base, okay? Body weight would be in the heels if you're standing, and if you're seated, body weight is evenly distributed in your sit bones. So a deep belly breath. So let's place one hand on our chest, one hand to the lower abdomen. Now the hand on the chest is to serve just as a marker. So if there's movement in this hand, when you breathe, you're breathing here in the upper respiratory. We want to focus and breathe into the lower abdomen. Okay, so we want to keep the top hand stable while the lower hand feels the breath. So everybody just randomly inhale. And as you inhale, push your belly into the hand and relax during the exhale. So as we breathe in, the abdominal wall muscles contract. As we breathe in, the diaphragm flattens, the lungs expand. So we have all that muscular contraction helping flush that fluid. And again, if you're feeling more comfortable now by the third or fourth breath, feel free to take two hands to the abdomen. That's the way. It's also a signal to the body to prepare for what's to come. That's the way. And I'd like you to take one last breath. We can take one last breath together. And I'd like you to really identify with that breath and that sensation. It should be fluid. It should feel comfortable. So by the end of our session today, our breathing process should be back to that sensation of breath, okay? So I'll come close to you folks. I can see you here. So let's stimulate the lymph nodes located through our bodies. If you recall from the diagram, we have lymphatic vessels down the sides of our neck, inside our throat. So we can split your fingers, maybe take one or two behind the earlobe and let the other fingers rest in front of the ear along your cheek. And we're going to make a circular pattern here, a little massage, but there's zero pressure. The amount of pressure is limited to just a skin stretch. And the circular pattern is more of a C stroke, a swoosh. Maybe 3 to 5 of them. If you like even numbers like I do, go 4, 6 of them. That's it. And then we're going to slide the fingers down the side of the throat across the collarbone. As if you recall from that diagram, the vessels travel right here. This way. Do 3 or 5. It's more like a J stroke. And again, it's just a glide across the surface of the skin. That's all the pressure that's necessary. Yeah, we'll get into the axilla, the lymph node region in the under the armpit that drains from the tissue in the breast. So cup the palm of your hand into that armpit. And again, little circles. I like to do one arm at a time, one side at a time. Now, if you have one side that's more affected than the other, you may notice tightness in the glide. Just go gently. That's it. And if you do recall from that visual we had up earlier, the large bundles and large clusters of lymph nodes are located in the groin. That's in the crease here, the underlying crease. So if you have pockets, feel free to put your hands in your pockets. And again, we want to encourage fluid back to the torso. So the circular pattern is more of an upflow, up direction. Rolling and gliding just along the surface of the skin, just to stimulate those large bundles. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so if you'd like to stay seated throughout the session today, I'll preview good posture. I said it earlier, but oh, there's a question. Let me see what that question is. The question here I have is, should all strokes be on skin or through clothes? In fact, I think it's more important to have the proper pressure and direction and region of the strokes and the massage as opposed to skin or not, skin to skin. Yeah, obviously we're all here in a group format, so so we have clothing on. I would think it would be perfectly comfortable and actually beneficial if you're in the privacy of your own home and you wanted to perform technique like we did on our neck, okay, and down the side of our neck, similar to that in the privacy of your own home, skin to skin would be fantastic. Or if you were in a clinical session with a licensed massage therapist, absolutely skin to skin might feel good and help encourage that flow. Hope that answers your question. Yeah, feel free to ask anytime. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so seated posture today would look like this. It's easy to get comfortable in our chairs. We really want to sit up strong. Okay, so the back is off the chair, collarbone stacked above the belly button. Now our bodies, we move in all planes of motion, okay? And we will do that today during our exercise segments. Our bodies need that good posture, okay? We like to encourage good posture before, during, and after exercise. So it's easy when we lose posture to lose out of form. See my shoulders out of form or my hips. We want to avoid shifting of the body weight. So we keep the body weight stable between two sit bones, knees, or shoulder width. Now, one thing I want to encourage you here is feet are directly under knees if you're seated. Again, we want to avoid that narrow torquing in the knee joints, that narrow position in the feet. Okay, everything we do today, we'll move our arms to the side. We will have a little bit of a hip hinge here to engage those lymph nodes located in the groin, the inguinal lymph nodes. But if you are standing with me, similar posture, as I mentioned, body weight heels, kneecaps forward, and collarbones stacked directly over that belly button. And the tip of your nose stacks directly over that collarbone. That's the way. Okay, folks, so let's have a little warm up. We'll hit the cervical region, head and neck. We'll hit the upper body. We'll hit the larger muscles in the lower body. And between each segment, we have a low impact cardio, which can be performed seated or standing. So the low impact cardio today will be 8 marches on the spot, a tap out, each side twice. That's our cardio segment, okay? Let's go, let's roll. So here we go, folks, sitting tall, standing tall. We're going to simply turn our face over the right shoulder, and the left shoulder presses down. Take your eye gaze and feel that stretch in the side of the neck. Now your chin should not connect to the shoulder. There should be a 2-inch, 3-inch gap. Turn to me. Eye gaze comes forward, so we're stable. And then just tip your head back. Now lift your eyes and lift your chin so the chin has the force. But this is a great big extension for your spine, folks. So never force a stretch. Come back to neutral to the spine, eye gaze to me. And let's repeat on the left. So turn your face. Chin over the shoulder, but lifted. We have to allow for that breath. Breath is key. Opposite shoulder has a little pressure towards the floor. Look to me. 2 big shrugs. So bend your elbows and pull the shoulders up and press them down strongly. Pull them up and press them down strongly. Good job. Let's look left side lead. So turn the face to the left. Now, if your lymphatics are compromised in your head and neck, this may feel tightness to you. This will help encourage that blood flow. Tipping back, looking up. Take your eye gaze and fix your eyeballs on a spot on the ceiling to stabilize. Good, look to me. If you're not compromised in the head and neck, we're turning to the right. This just feels really great. This is a really great stretch for the neck anyway, release any kind of tightness or tension we may carry. Here we go, 2 big shrugs, bent elbows up and down. Now let's add some breath to this. So inhale up and exhale down. Okay, first set of cardio coming. So let's march on the spot, right side lead. You have 8 and 7 and 6 and 5. Notice my feet, they're shoulder width, and 3 and 2 and 1. Right foot taps out, left foot taps out. That's once, do it twice. And again, right foot leads, 8 and 7. Now the first thing I want to remind you is no clenching in the hands. nice and soft in the fingers. Second thing I want to remind you is in your march, we land quiet. 2 more rounds, folks, okay? 6, 6, and 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Tap, and tap, and twice. Good, once again. Now you notice those lymph nodes earlier on that slide. Imagine what will happen here with the pump in the stepping action. It's a basic walking gait. All right, just checking in. Here's my first check-in. Cool and groovy, speak up if you're not. Sensation of, okay, we're starting to work with breathless, okay? We never become too breathy. Let's hit the upper extremity preview for lymph drainage technique. All right, so we're going to stand tall, sit tall, folks. Right arm will come wide. Now turn your palm up. Lower slowly. Left arm goes wide. Now turn your palm up. Turn the palm down and lower slowly. Now 2 hands together. Breathing in, shoulder level, turn the palm up. Once, pause, bend the elbows to a bicep curl. And right here, big breath out. Okay, so let's try that again. Right arm leads, turn the palm up, turn the palm down, slowly land. So we're prepping the axilla, the lymph node region under the armpits, with this beginning pumping sensation here. 2 hands, both palms to the ceiling, palm to the floor. Oh, bicep curl right here. That's the way. We have a small grouping of lymph nodes located in the crease of that elbow. Right arm, turn the palm up. So this is in exercise programming and fitness. This is a side raise with a palm flip. That's it. 2 arms together. Inhaling, palms rotate up and down. Up, give me that bicep curl. That's the way. And 1 more round, folks. Right arm, flip the palm. Notice perhaps a warming sensation in the shoulder muscle. That's it. Now in the clinical term, this posture here, this is a side abduction. Clinical term right here, that palm flip would be a supination, activating the muscles in the forearms, the underside of the arm. 2 big rolls right here. Loosen that all up, back, and down with the shoulders, up, back, and down. Second segment of cardio coming, left side lead, 8 marches, folks. 8, and 7, and 6, and 5, and 4. Remember, nice and quiet on the landing, no impact allowed. Tap, and tap, and the second tap. 3 more rounds, 8, and 7, and 6, and 5. Chin is up. Smile, folks, it's okay. You're in good hands. Tap, and tap, and tap. Well done. 2 more rounds, please. So some of us are visual learners. I like to use the cue. Imagine the floor is covered with eggshells. Nice and light, nice and light. Don't crack any. Good. 1 more round. 8 and 7. Marching man arms is fine if you'd like. It might help with balance and coordination. Okay. 2 tap outs each side. Well done. Lower extremity lymph drainage technique. Here's your preview. Okay, so shift your body weights. If you're standing, into 1 heel. If you're seated, you're even. Okay, toe to the floor. Just roll your shoelaces. If you chose your right foot, we're rolling the right foot to the right side. If you chose your left foot, we're rolling your left foot to the left side. We always encourage external rotation away from that midline, that imaginary line that separates the body, right side, left side. Switching weight, switching feet. So the shoelaces lead the roll. The foot is light to the touch, not jammed into the floor like you're on a sheet of ice, just glide. And as I mentioned earlier, imagine my skeletal system right now and your skeletal system, what's happening in that hip socket, the manipulation of those large clusters of lymph nodes. That's the way. And switching, let's get the other side. Maybe a handful of rolls, 3 or 5. Okay, everybody, standing tall, sitting tall. Everybody, slide your hands to your thighs so you have that bend at the waist, that little hip hinge here. Good. As we come up, if you're standing, push through the heels, open the chest. Come again. If you're seated, you simply extend your collarbones forward, reach to the sides of your knees. Everybody, come on up. Let's do 2 more rounds of these, okay? So we have that knee bend, there are lymph nodes located behind the knee, in that crease, lymph nodes in the groin there. As you come up, pull your front of your belly up. Embrace the front of that core. You just feel that sensation. Good, that helps support the lower back. That's the way. And come on up, just that basic crouch, folks. Good job. 8 marches, right side lead. 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. Right side, tap it out. Left side, tap it out. Right side, tap it out. We do it twice, remember? 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Right side tap, left side tap, right side tap. We're switching to left side lead. 8 and 7. We'd like balance. 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. Left side lead. Here we go. Tap. And the tap is light. Remember those eggshells. Good. 1 more round. Now, this is our 3rd round of our low impact cardio. This is about as intense as we go. Check in with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Breathy should be the sensation that we're feeling. If you have water, feel free to hydrate. Feel free to hydrate. Check in with yourself. If you have a device, check your heart rate. See where your heart rate is right now. Just checking in. Any questions? Everybody okay? Yeah, Lisa, Trish, Pamela, Virginia. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. So let's focus on the upper extremities, which are our arms. As we did earlier, we have a side raise, abduction. Every time we come to that palm flip, that supination, I want to add 1 more repetition to it, okay? So it really helps activate the muscles into that forearm to help if there is any kind of fluid buildup in the hands and the fingers in the forearm. Stay with me on this. I want to check in with you folks at about rep 4, 3 or 4. And if that's enough for you today, then feel free to sit out the last 2 sets. And if you're feeling okay, slightly uncomfortable would be an okay sensation. If you're feeling okay, come with me to rep 5 and possibly rep 6. I would like to add a shoulder roll at the end of this set as well. As I mentioned earlier, everything we're doing here can be performed seated or standing, just in good posture. So shall we? Come on up if you're standing with me. Shoulders are back and down. We're going to take the right arm to the side raise, turn the palm up, fingers are wide. Good. Now look at my shoulders. Let's go to the left side. My shoulders are staying nice and even, parallel to the floor. 2 hands together. Turn the palm up once. Pause, bicep curl. Open the arms. Now right here, add a long arm shoulder roll. Coming down. That's the way. Right arm lifts, palm lift to the ceiling. Slowly lower. Now that descend actually requires muscular control. You don't want to drop out. There's a difference. 2 together, wide. Now flip the palm once, hands to the floor, flip the palm twice, pause. That's it. Bicep curl, right here, big arm circle, and let the arms just land. Can you folks see me? Something happened here with the Zoom. Okay, here we go, rep number 3. So right arm comes wide to a side raise. Now notice the side body engaging, the slow twitch fibers in the trunk of the body that are responsible for stability. They're working hard here with our arms out of balance, 1 at a time. Center of gravity, we have 3 flips here, folks. Center of gravity changes, bicep curl. And then as we open wide, soft elbow, up, back, and down, big breath with it. Ah. Good. Now here comes repetition 4. So right hand, check in with yourself. See how you're feeling in your shoulder. See how you're feeling with the range of motion. See how you're feeling even across the upper back and lower back. Give me 4 flips here. 4, palm to the floor, palm to the ceiling, 3, palm to the floor. Now get that skin stretch across your palm, stretch those fingers wide. Here's rep 4, bicep curl, elbows stay lifted, opening wide, up, back, and down, big shoulder roll. How big is your shoulder roll? As big as you decide. Okay, are we okay here? If you're coming with me, we're at repetition 5, right arm. Remember, we're sitting tall, we're standing tall, left arm, alternating sides. Now 2 hands together has a little more balance, moving in unison. Here's rep 5, palm flips. Supination, pronation, palm up, palm down. And about this repetition, you should start to notice that warming sensation in the forearm. On rep 5, you pause, bicep curl, get that elbow pump. There you go. If you're coming with me for rep 6, join along. Right side, single side, alternate left side. So that warming sensation you may notice in the shoulder muscle, on the side of the muscle. Here's 6 palm flips. That's just simply blood flow. That just means you're doing it right. Body weight exercises. The weight of your arm, 4 and 5. And here comes rep 6. Bicep curl, flexion extension in the elbow socket. Good, big roll. Nicely done, folks, nicely done. Okay, shake it out, loosen it up if you feel warming sensation. Any questions on that? We targeted the axilla region, we targeted the elbow crease to help that pump. You should have a stimulated sensation through the hands, stimulated sensation through the shoulders and upper back, simply from the weight of the arms, making that torso and the core have to stabilize. Okay, so let's hit the lower extremity, with essentially our legs, okay, and our feet. If the lymphatic system is damaged in the midsection or in the groin, that fluid can be interrupted in its path from the feet back up to the body, back up to the torso to be recirculated. So the hip hinge is a huge part of this program. Hip socket opening is a huge part of this program. And again, the knee bend to target that lymph node region behind the knee. So seated postures, I'll preview first, and then I'll stand with you folks before we get to it. Okay, so let's stand in here. Let me show you a seated position. So you remember earlier, we did the ankle rolls, right? Single leg ankle rolls. Shoulder width with the knees, shoulder width with the feet. The ankle rolls now will become ponies, which is more of a one heel up, one heel down posture, okay? So we'll have 4 ponies instead of 4 ankle rolls. We'll come into this crouch technique that we did earlier, tipping at the hip with a chest stretch, okay? And then we have a heel to the front and a heel to the front afterwards. That heel to the front will add that 1 repetition every time. Can you folks identify where my feet are in this position here? Okay, so we have 4 ponies. We have a crouch, a tip at the hip with a chest stretch. And then we have a heel to the front twice, okay? If you're standing with me, I'll show you to you. If you're standing with me, the pony posture looks more like this. I suggest hands on the hips. So the side profile, 1 heel lifts, 1 knee comes forward, and we alternate sides like a little prancing pony, okay? Then we have the crouch technique. From the front, it looks just like this, kind of like an umpire would stand. Profile looks like this. So we have the knee bend, we have the hip hinge. And notice my lower back, please, how flat it is, because I'm embracing my core in the front, okay? If we don't keep a strong core, it can collapse and you can have that concave in the lower back. We want to avoid that. So keep the belly lifted when we're here. It's a lifting sensation, okay? We'll come up to a stretch, and then we have a heel and a heel. All right, so that's our programming for lower extremity today. So if you're seated, come off the back of the chair, please. If you're standing with me, hands to the hips, lift 1 heel and switch. So the heel that lifts the shoelaces, press forward strongly. We're doing 4 of them. And the heel that lifts the kneecap also travels forward strongly. Now 2 heels down, everybody tip from the waist, come into that crouch technique, come up, open the chest. Good, now 1 heel at a time to the front. Back to the ponies. And 3, and if you're feeling comfortable with balance and ankle strain, you don't need to hold on. Good, come into the crouch. Now let's make this better. Belly up, push through the heels if you're standing. You stand tall, stretch your chest. 2 heel taps, and 2. Back to your ponies, 4 of them at a time. That's the way. So we have the weight shift, we have the hip stability. Good, both heels down, come into your crouch. Now, if you'd like to bend your knees deeper, go ahead, you can go there. Everybody push through the heels to come up if you're standing. Open the heart. Ah, good. Now 3 heel taps, and 2, and 1. Moving along, 4 ponies. That's the way. You can smile, lift your chin. Add a little dance pop if you like. Come into your crouch. Folks, this crouch here, I'm pulling it a crouch, pulling it an umpire stance. Essentially, it's a mid squat. 4 heel taps, and 3. So you're opening and closing the knee here, getting that pump behind the knee. Good, 4 ponies, folks. And 3, we're going to 6 at our total reps. All right, come into your crouch, belly lifts, chin lifts. Now push through the heels, use your legs to lift if you're standing. That's your bending lifting technique. 4 more, 3 more, 2 more heel digs, and 1. All right, come on in, 4 ponies, and 3, and 2, and 1. By this rep, you should start to notice that warming sensation around the ankle. Yeah, connecting that neuromuscular connection. Here's 5 taps, 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. All right, 4 ponies. This is our last round. Then we'll move into some low impact cardio, okay? All right, come into your crouch, shoulders are down, no shrugging, upper body's light. Use your legs to lift, stretch that chest. Give me 6 alternating heel digs, 6, and 5. And remember, we're on eggshells, nice and quiet on that floor. That's your visual for how quiet you land. And 1, and done, and done. Again, check in with the self, check in with your breath. Myself, slightly winded. Okay, we're working, we're moving into more efforts. We targeted, again, those bundles of lymph nodes, as I mentioned many times, in the groin, behind the knee. We also worked on functional aspect, that bending lifting technique. Grab some water while I have a moment. This technique right here is functional. We do this every day, over the sink, washing dishes, into the clothes dryer, brushing our teeth, picking up a potted plant. All these moves we do today have purpose. Everything we do today has purpose. Okay, just checking in. Everybody's moving right along. Yeah, hydrate, folks. Grab some water. Always know, of course, you can have water at any time. You do not have to wait for me, okay, to suggest water. Grab your water at any time. And I will too. All right, so let's hit a section now that our bodies are primed. The lymphatic system is stimulated. The respiratory system is stimulated. Let's hit a little bit of a cardio focus, okay? We'll have 2 exercises. And as we've done so far today, if you've noticed, 1 exercise, we add 1 repetition as we move along, okay? It's a great way to work on technique. It's a great way to improve technique and improve strength. The longer we move through the sets, the longer the set becomes when we add 1 repetition, and then eventually the stronger we become, okay, throughout that. So today, I'd like to do 8 marches on the spots, which of course can be done seated. And I want to incorporate a modified half step jack. Now don't get scared, okay? A modified half step jack. Let me preview for you. 8 marches on the spot, obviously. We've done it before. It's a basic walking gait profile. Doesn't have to be high knees, okay? Again, we don't want to bang our feet. We land quiet. Jumping jacks, of course, have impact. We don't impact in this class. A half jack looks like this. Lower body taps out as the arm comes up. That's all it is. Now, if your shoulder range of motion is limited, you have perhaps some shoulder old injuries or current injury, and if this is just too much for you overhead, of course, you can just come to the shoulder level. Looks more like this in your jack, okay, as opposed to this, okay? We have one side of the body is stable, working hard, keeping you upright. One side of the body is moving, working just as hard, and combined together with the upper body and the lower body. And in the jack posture, the side body becomes engaged. So it's a lot more happening than simply marching in place. Okay, so we'll get strong together. The marching in place, those of you that may have arthritis in the ankles or neuropathy in the feet, identify the sole of your foot as a rectangle, like the base of a brick. And I want you to try and focus when you land to have all 4 corners of that sole of that foot, okay, solid on to the floor, the ground, whatever you're marching on or stepping on. Okay, we want to always be safe and stable. And every step we take will establish and reconnect that neuromuscular mind-body connection, okay? The jack segment, of course, will be the set that we add 1 repetition to. We will go to reps of 4, okay, on the right side and on the left side. All right, and check in with yourself. And if you're feeling more than that breathy sensation, let me know, or just sit a rep out and just move along a little bit slower, okay? So come on with me if you're standing. If you're seated, of course, you're off the back of the chair. In a march, the seating technique is the same. In the jack technique, in the chair, you may just want to be careful if the chair has arms on it, okay? You may want to just come higher than the arm, or if you choose this option, obviously, the arm of the chair is not an issue, okay? So let's do it, folks. We'll do 8 marches, right side lead, and 7, and 6, and 5, standing tall, 4, and 3, and 2, right side, that half jack. 8 marches, left side, 8, and 7, and 6, and 5. It's a basic walking gait, as we said. Land the foot solid, left side half jack. 8 marches, 8, and 7, and 6. So the arm movement is what's comfortable for you. Right side half jack 2 times. Looks like this, once, twice. Left side lead, march, and march, and march, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7. 2 jacks left side, here or here. Right side lead, march. Now from this repetition, this round, you start to notice, okay, we're working. It should be sustainable. Give me 3 jacks on the right. Now imagine the axilla pump here, and imagine that groin pump, left side lead, and 7, and 6, and 5, and 4, and 3. A little bit of a hip hinge too. Good. 3 jacks here. 3, and 2, and 1. 8 marches, right side, and 7. A warming sensation should be maybe in the front of the thighs, across the lower back. All right, 4 half jacks. 4, 3, 2, chin is up. 1, last round. 8, and 7, and 6. Fingers are relaxed. Smile, guys. It's okay. You made it to the end. Here we go. 4, and 3, and 2, and 1, and done. Nicely done. Check in. Breathe, hydrate, hydrate. Take a moment. Yeah, cheers, everybody. That was fantastic. That was fantastic. We're moving right along. I have one more segment I'd like to do, and then we have a cool down. And after the cool down, we'll have another deep breath segment, a deep belly breath. whatever fluid is traveling right now that we're stimulating, that the body is moving through, we want to, again, flush that torso out so it can continue its path, okay? It's always the goal. Anybody have questions yet? No? Good, I love that. Fantastic, that means you guys are all on it. Okay, let's target a little bit more of a strength aspect as opposed to a cardio aspect. Okay, so we'll have here that crouch technique that we did earlier can be done also seated. That umpire stance, remember folks, looks just like this. I keep my buttons green. When we come from here, I want to incorporate in it's a bent over posture, but I want to incorporate a row. Now a row is when the elbows slide along the waist back. Looks like this one profile. It's not forced. It's just so you feel that gentle stretch across your chest. Shoulders pull back with it. Okay. It's an extension in the shoulder sockets. It's a strengthening technique for the upper back and a stretching technique for the front of chest. If you've had surgery across the front of your chest, tightness and scarring can pull the body in this direction, this posture. The aging process brings our body posture to this forward. Sitting for long periods of time, cold weather can bring our body posture forward. This encourages that opening in the chest. This encourages that strengthening in the upper back, which of course will give us good posture. So we have that row we'll do together. And then we reset the row when our hands just come down by our shoulders. And we'll come wide to a fly. And then we'll just come right back up and stand tall. Now, if you're seated, I'm taking this time to show you intentionally so we all do it right. Remember seated posture, knees shoulder width. We come down, we row. We come down to the side of our legs and we go wide. Okay, seated and standing movements are the same. Everybody throughout this, we need to identify the collarbones and keep our chin above it. Everybody throughout this, seated or standing, we need to identify the front of the belly and keep that abdominal wall engaged by just pulling it in slightly. It's a very different sensation than sucking it in and holding your breath, okay? Because as we know, breath is key, but we want that muscular contraction, that support throughout the core of the body, okay? So let's stand tall. Every time we take our arms wide, folks, that's a rear deltoid fly. The rear deltoid is the back of the shoulder. Okay, we go wide like you spread your wings. We'll add one more repetition to that. And again, the focus here is muscular contraction, and the focus here is the descent is slow and controlled. We're not just dropping out, okay? Let's do it, everybody. Feet under shoulders, knees under shoulders if you're seated and standing. You're standing, body weight's in your heels. Come down, tip from the hip, take the elbows along your waist, pull the elbows back just so you feel a stretch across your chest. Then reset them down, palms face each other. We go wide. Slowly descend and come on up, sitting tall, relaxing the muscles in the lower back. Good. Come on down again. Palms up, elbows glide along your waist. Visual learners, imagine there's a tissue under your elbow. We fly, we deltoid fly, go wide, drag down, and go wide again. Drag down. Now use the front of your core, use your legs to bend and lift. Good. Reset the body. Tip from the hip. Right here. Imagine there's a tissue between your elbow and your waist. Don't let that tissue drop. That's how close you are. You're hugging your waist with the inside of the elbow. 3 flies. And then again, we identify that collarbone. It's forward and your chin is above it. Yes? That's the way. And push through the heels if you're standing. If you're seated, lift through the belly, come back up, let the body recover in between sets. You feel how the back relaxes as we come out. Here's the 4th and last rep. Tip forward, row, squeeze the shoulder blades to that spine. Scapular retraction. I'll give you 4 real deltoid flies. Go wide and drag. Your hands are soft, your fingers are soft, your elbows are soft. How wide can you go? Up to you and your shoulder joint. That's the way. Good, good. Come on up, use your legs, that's the way, use your legs to stand tall. Nicely done. So you should feel that warming sensation more along the lower back and then more along the center of your mid back from that scapular retraction. Okay. All right, folks. Checking in. How do we go today? How do we feel right now? We should feel stimulated. We should feel less breathy. That's an indication that you've recovered. When I say recovered, I mean your heart rate has come back to less intensity. The breathing process is slightly better, or the function of the heart involved in the lungs involved in that is more in a more comfortable state. As you can tell by me, I can talk without catching my breath, so I've come back to that place. If you need more time, please let me know and we can slow down, but let's have a little bit of a cool down together. Now here's a little bit of a, my functional training. I always have to throw this in there. Plus, if you've had treatments from cancer, chemotherapy, sometimes the heart and lung can have some tissue damage. And maybe a little bit, sometimes we can have a little bit of a brain fog from treatments. And sometimes there's the aging process. We can have a little bit of a brain fog at those senior moments. So let's do something interesting just to keep it cognitive. We're going to count backwards. Okay, of course, it's exercise. We'll have 2 sets of exercise counting backwards. Nothing we haven't done so far today. If you're seated, of course, we know we should by now, hopefully, come off the back of the chair so we're not slouching or slumping. But if you're standing with me, we're going to step tap. Okay, and if you're seated, you're going to heel tap. Okay, so we'll step tap 6, and then we'll march from 6. Then we'll step tap 5. Then we'll march for 4, 5, and we go backwards. Each exercise, we do 1 less as we cool down, unwind somewhat, and then go about the rest of our day. So shall we? Here we go. Step tap 6 and 5. It's a light tap 4. It's a side movement 3 and 2. But it's a time to check in with yourself and march 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. That's it. Now 5 step taps and 4 and breathe and 2. Now look, I'm moving a little bit slower here. 5 marches, 5. Now look at my arms. I'm not as engaged. All right, 4 step taps, 4. Now let's move a little bit slower here. 3, 2, and 1. To the front, 4, 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. And 3 and 3, folks. 3 step taps, and 2, and 1. And to the front, 3, and 2, and 1. Good. And remember, if you're seated, these step taps are those heel taps. To the front once and twice, and 1, and 1, and 1, and 1. Good job, good job. I saw a question pop up there. I lost. That's it. This is wonderful. Oh, Diane, thank you so much. He's a 2-year survivor. Fantastic, fantastic. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today. Hopefully, it's a lot of what we did today felt good for your body. And made sense for your body. We all have our different medical histories. We all have our different life journey. But the fact that we're here together, this is our single unifying reason for us all to be here. Diane, yes, Diane asked, will these exercises will be posted to use another day? Yes, in fact, I believe the East Hampton Library is recording this. And I believe they're going to make it available at some point. We have to follow up on that. Valentina, thank you. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Trish, great class. Thank you, Tracy. And Rebecca, Tricia, we thank you. We appreciate it. I understand it sounds like some of you folks maybe have had enough and are on your way out. Let's just breathe a little bit together, okay, before we finish. So if you're seated, come on up off the back of the chair. All right, but before we do that, let's just roll the ankles just to loosen it up a little bit. I know I try to get as much information out as possible. Just show the ankle some love here. Little roll. Maybe you notice a difference too from when we started with the ankle rolls almost an hour ago to how they feel now. Yeah. All right. So back to the belly breath, folks. If you're comfortable and are prepared, 2 hands to the lower abdomen. If you still want to just be sure you're breathing, doing it correctly, 1 hand to the chest. We're going to inhale to the belly. Exhale. Now remember, if your hand is on your chest, that top hand should not have movement. The breath should come into the lower respiratory. So breathing in, pushing the belly out, letting that diaphragm flatten so the lungs can expand. So I want to thank you all of you for joining us today. We appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. I'll turn the floor back over to Rebecca, but first let me follow through with these messages here. Oh, Carla, thank you. Carla, thank you, all the way from Ireland. Welcome. I appreciate you staying up with us. Yeah, my family is also from Ireland. My name is Tracie Sullivan. Yeah, I know. My family's from Cork. Yeah. So welcome. Thank you, everybody. Of course, you can always reach out through Southampton Hospital. Rebecca, if you can put up the
absolutely. Thank you so much, Tracie.
Thank you.
Let me just get this up for everybody. So thank you everybody for joining us today. Tracie, that was great. I'm just going to share a slide with some information for everybody. I'm going to leave it up for a minute. This has the contact information and the email for, these resources. So as we end out this last minute or so, I'm just going to leave this up for a second. So if anyone wants to jot this down, or we'll also have this in the future classes. So you can always reach out to the library and we can also get this information for you, but I'll leave this up for a second. And then I just also wanted to say that if you are planning to, continue to attend with us, this is going to be the same webinar link for each week, just to make it easy for everybody. So if you want to hold on to this or just save it, that's great. We will still send it to everybody week to week. So, for the other sessions. So, you don't have to worry about holding on to it. It can be fresh in your email for that morning. But if that makes more sense for everybody to kind of save it, you can definitely do that. So I just wanted to put that out for everybody. But again, thank you, everyone. And thank you so much, Tracie.
No, thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
I hope everybody has a great day and we'll see you next time. Bye.